Some ghosts scream to be heard. Some wail for what they lost. But some sit quietly beside you and speak as if nothing is wrong. This is the story of the chilling bus stop, a tale whispered by drivers in the countryside of Japan, and by those who swear they once rode with someone who had no reason to be there. It began, as these things often do, with something ordinary. A late meeting in the city, a glance at the clock, a sprint to the station, and the sound of the last train pulling away. The timetable offered one option, a night bus to my town. It was a longer route, winding through rice fields and narrow forest roads. But it was warm, dry, and better than walking. I found the stop, a single lamp above a cracked bench, rain hissing in the yellow light. No one else there, until she arrived. She came slowly, her steps measured, a closed umbrella clutched in both hands. Her kimono was dark blue, with a faded floral pattern, and her hair was silver, tied neatly at the nape of her neck. She greeted me with a small bow. Her voice was soft, like the rustle of old paper. "Are you heading toward Takahama?" I nodded. She smiled faintly, as if relieved. We stood in silence for a moment, listening to the rain tap against the road. The bus arrived with a groan, its headlights stretching shadows across the wet ground. We boarded together. She chose the seat beside mine. The driver, a tired-looking man in his 50s, watched her in the mirror. His eyes lingered longer than they should have. When I glanced at him, he looked away quickly. The woman began to speak. Not in the rambling way some elders do, but in gentle, measured sentences. We talked about the weather, the small temple by the roadside, the persimmon trees that were heavy with fruit this year. I noticed it then. The air was cooler on her side of the seat. Cooler, and somehow heavier. Outside, the rain streaked the windows. The glass showed the blurred shapes of trees, telephone poles, and our own reflections. But hers was faint, as if she was sitting a little farther away than the seat allowed. When I blinked, it sharpened, only to fade again. I told myself it was the fogged glass, the dim light, the long day. After some time, she leaned toward me. "I'll be getting off just before the temple," she said, pointing toward a narrow, unlit road. I nodded. The bus slowed. The driver kept his eyes forward, but his hands tightened on the wheel. When I turned to say goodbye, her seat was empty. The umbrella leaned perfectly against the edge, still dripping onto the floor. The door opened. No one stepped out. No sound of feet on wet asphalt. Only the hiss of rain. The driver closed the door and pulled away. In the mirror, his eyes met mine. "You're lucky," he said quietly. "She spoke to you. Usually, she just rides in silence. I learned the rest later, from a friend who grew up here. Years ago, an old woman waited at that same stop for the last bus. A storm came suddenly. The bus never arrived. They found her the next morning, collapsed on that dark road, umbrella clutched in her hands. Now, drivers say she sometimes boards their bus, always late at night, always toward Takahama. Sometimes she talks, sometimes she doesn't. But she always disappears before her stop. So, if you ever find yourself alone on a night bus in rural Japan, and a kind, soft-spoken woman sits beside you, listen to what she says. She might tell you something harmless, or something you'll never forget. And if she leaves her umbrella behind, don't touch it.